Oh man, you got me on a bad hair day.
Oh my God! Yeah, right. A couple things. One, it's kind of decent to still have hair and have an option about it. Although I'm very lazy with my hair.
Notice I'm losing it.
It's right. It's wild. It's.
Wish I could take this off my chin and throw it over top of my head. That would be great.
What's your first memories of Craig? What do you remember? Because he was what I consider to be like my first soldier.
He was a PFC the first man.
Yeah.
And I got to say this: I've had thousands of soldiers. But if I were to pick the best soldier that I ever had in the ranks of E1 through E4, nobody comes close to this guy.
Right? Isn't it wild?
Oh man! I mean, I don't care what you ask me to do.
I don't know what I did.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Hey Joe, I love you, man. What's going on? I'm down in the day room. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Bravo battery.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, I just started the kind of interview. We started taping something. Come on down anytime. All right, love you, man. Bye.
But I would tell you there, Sergeant Marshall, I was blessed to have so many good soldiers.
How do I turn this off?
I had you, man.
I'm telling you.
I'm gonna tell you one of the smartest E5s I served with, man.
Well, years ago, right? It's really cool.
What was so in our squad? It was Maggie Giannis, me, and I can see the driver plain as day.
Okay, you had also.
But I can't remember his name.
You had.
Lives out in Texas. And then the senior gunner was I forget his name too.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now. Oh, you know I had yeah, he's from Texas. Brown.
Yeah.
Brown.
Yep, had that wiry mustache, and yeah.
He'd always get nervous when I come around. He'd call me coach instead of sergeant.
Who is this?
His name was Brown. He was a good soldier too, man. Oh, he was a really good soldier.
He would dig a hole.
You want to drape
faster than
it
anybody I knew.
somewhere?
Oh, no kidding, man.
Yeah. I think it was, being out there in Texas, and he finally got some good dirt he could dig in.
Here, we'll do this. There we go. I love it, dude. That's beautiful work you got done there, man. That is a beautiful flag.
No. This one I actually bought 2 of them for $25 a piece.
Wow. That's nice.
That is really nice.
That one I had made though. I don't know.
So that is a custom guidon that Stephen has had made, and look at the guidon shaft. In order to get it here, he's had to put the joints in there so he could pack it in his suitcase.
When you're done, I can loan it to you and you can paint.
I love it. That is awesome, man. And we're here hanging out with 2 ADA Army, I don't know, Cold Steel, all kinds of places, legends. 108, Space Command, shaping the force of the ADA branch for sure, for years and years, right?
It's all because of him.
I agree. Look, there's something about people that when they get you early, you get on the right bus. You get on that bus with them, and you'll go as far as that chariot or that bus goes. And it's guys like you. It's hard to explain. I guess you have to look at your mentors, and you have to think of the awe that you looked at them at, right? You would walk in the room, and here you came in, and you had a purpose, you had direction, you provided us with like this. Like I talk about Pascal Hilton. When he talked, there was a forward lean to it that just, I don't know, you were ready to go. And you knew that he had your back because you'd seen him when others around you had messed up and they got popped. You knew that if you kept on that straight and narrow that you wasn't going to get popped. And by demonstrating that, surely every time we built amazing team. You built an amazing branch, right? Together, look at where. Remember, I sat in Sergeant Major Adams' office at 3rd of the 4th and resigned from the branch.
Yeah, you broke my heart. All right.
I know, it's interesting to hear you say that.
I was happy to see you go and do that because the only reason is because that's something that you wanted to do. And I think that was one of the best parts about being in the Army was to get to do the things that you want to do. You want to jump out of airplanes like a fool, whatever. But it's something that you want to do. And if you do that, it's enjoyable, and you seem to go through the ranks, you know.
And it's interesting that I never made it out of the branch, which is great. But there was that time, there was that desperation at that time as everything had gotten narrowed down and Vulcan had gone away and Desert Storm was over and those promotion slots. You know, I spent 6 years as an E5 promotable. I got promoted to staff sergeant on my 10-year anniversary in the Army.
But you know, you look at that, and that helped build that consummate NCO that knows and understands how to take care of a soldier either in a garrison environment or a tactical field environment. And I can actually say that now it's not so. Not to that extent, because their soldiers are moving through the ranks so fast that they miss some of that critical learning and knowledge, you know, is lost.
I'm going to tell you, I never once was abused ever in my time in the Army, but I'll tell you, the threat of abuse from somebody like you was a real thing. It was like that keeps you in line. Like the threat that there's actually a chance that this son gun is crazy enough to actually do it. And yeah, right?
It's all a show.
I know, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that was also interesting for me at the time, again, I'm a young sergeant, and I'm learning from you and Bradley, and you've got an office together. And it was like, okay, all you guys out, and they bring the soldier in, and he's going to report, and this, that, and the other happened. So I'm in the middle of this. I'm not in trouble. I'm not in the room, but I'm like learning, and I'm outside the door hearing you and him go bah, 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 on some soldier over something, such that when it was all over said and done, we were all looking at each other going, whew, I'm glad they didn't kill him, but it sounded like they was going to for a minute.
Bradley he was a good NCO.
Right?
He was top notch. Top notch.
And again, the battalion was a clique. If you were an NCO and you weren't in that clique, Gertz talks about this morning at breakfast how he felt that he wasn't part of the clique so much because he didn't come up and wasn't a jump master, and he was a staff sergeant when he got there with bald wings. I tell you, the in group, they helped each other out a lot. We took care of.
Well, you gotta think about it. When you went up into division, the first thing they would look at were your wings. And if you didn't have jump master wings on, especially master rated, they were going to listen to who was jump master and master rated over a bald-headed jump wing.
Oh, yeah,
jump.
absolutely.
Didn't matter what the rank was.
Absolutely.
And that was a fact. And if you guys remember, if you didn't go to jump master school, you weren't going to be in one of those positions of key leadership positions.
I remember something I was really proud of in Bravo was that I think it was first sergeant. They just I think it was something like 98% of the soldiers in the battery were airborne and air assault qualified.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Had double stacked, huh?
Double stacked.
Yeah.
So I never got to go to air assault school.
We had to get we sent everybody to IT. What's MT?
Yeah,
MTT.
MTT. Isn't it funny how those acronyms and things just leave your brain after a while? It's like there was a point in our life.
You got a whole bunch more, right?
Yeah, right.
New.
What was it like to lead those soldiers, you know, through those times, right? You had a platoon of, look back on it, it was testosterone, alcohol, getting runs and I mean, just think about it. We go run 4 miles and then we're over there doing extra flutter kicks and all these other kinds of things, right? It was a wild bond that we were doing and trying to be the best, the competitions. What do you remember about that stuff?
PT was tough. But
well, you were good at it.
Once you went to another unit, you know, he's sitting in some of the training meetings and they want to show slides and talk about, hey, how we having these PT failures, people not up to status. We didn't even think about anything like this today, exactly, because there was nobody that wasn't physically fit. And so it made you proud to serve in that unit. And we never thought about PT. We never kept stats. And the ones we did keep, I mean, they was all, everybody, I don't think anybody ever had anything over 280.
No,
279,
I just thought it was too easy. You know, they need something more than just push-ups, sit-ups, and a damn run.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Hell, get out there and
I think
doing sit-ups,
every one of my
telephone
PT tests
poles,
I got a 300 on, except for
carrying
one I got
telephone poles
270.
around the field.
Oh boy. Yeah. And I used to love those division runs. I mean, you could see them were just soldiers for.
Looking back on it, to be standing on a parade field with 18,000 paratroopers with your bayonet fixed and your pistol belt on and your
It's like,
parade
oh my God.
cock just right. I didn't think about that.
You could hear somebody in the background.
It's not standing on that parade field, Marshall. It's the fact that all the rehearsal we went through compared to a lot of these other battalions, they're not out there doing nothing. We're out there every day practicing for that.
Oh yeah. By the way, we had the longest hike of anybody, right?
March all the way down there.
All the way back.
Yeah.
That was a killer march, man. I mean, what was it? How many miles was it?
It was good.
2 1/4.
Yeah, thereabouts.
All the way down there.
Tell me y'all's favorite cadence. What's y'all's favorite marching cadence? If you had to go sing cadence right now, what cadence you coming up with?
I think you and I had this conversation when I was driving to Virginia one time. They wouldn't allow us to be in the Army right now because of our mouths and our cadence. So again, I was there with y'all. I remember those edgy cadences, and I remember sometimes when we'd be out in Area J or off on the tank trail, somebody would break out some crazy stuff, and it's like, man, come on, what the hell? All right,
Definitely want to fall
my
out, man. 'Cause you want to hear the cadence, man.
favorite. Hey, my favorite was Mama Told
Tell me
Sally.
not to go downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always my favorite. I wrote that song about it. I'm gonna play it Saturday.
Yeah.
I can't even remember some men, but you know, when I first got there in the first few years, everyone was about some woman. Shit, after about 85, you can't say this shit no more.
So I was over at my neighbor's house. Guy that lives there in Fayetteville, Terry Hall. And we'd start drinking, and he'd always come up with these little things. And he said, "Hey, Craig, you ever heard this one? Up on the rooftop, slick ass glass. Watch old Santa bust his ass down through the chimney like a bat out of hell. Called his nuts on a rusty old."
This is Stanley Jones.
And I get out there in Ardennes.
He
and sing
still
that
had some,
Christmas.
oh my God, crazy. I mean, when he was a young PFC, he was singing all kinds, but then he went to the chorus. But oh my God, he knew tons of cadences.
So the only cadence that I remember that's was the one that they did in PLDC. It was like something about napalm sticks to kids
Yep.
and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird to be going down the road and thinking. So I remember Sergeant Major Kendrick Cuddy, right? No, I'm messing the name up. Cuddy. What was his name? What was his last name? Huh? Okay,
Kendrick.
yeah. Okay, so he was standing out there in the parade field, and he got us all together, and he said, "Listen up, motherfuckers. We can't be talking about the damn legs. We can't be running down the road talking about no damn motherfucking females. Y'all got to keep your cages motherfucking clean. You hear me?" And we would fall back in, and you remember the mornings of battalion PT out there in the dew, and
Yeah.
right? side straddle hops, you know, indicators. Isn't that so? Don't you long for that somehow in a way? Just to go back there, nothing else, to stand there and watch them?
So, you know, seeing that, being part of that, and, you know, the different batteries broke out, those were good times. And then when we would get together for the Bastard Brigade runs.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
And the shaft would be carried on the run, and then the shaft would be passed. The one that sticks out in my mind is we were on that field over on the engineer side of the field,
Yeah.
and the 173rd Armor was in charge. And they come rolling out with them tanks, and the strippers pop out the tops, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah."
It is so wild to have been on that parade field. I think we all looked around and we were like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we're getting away with this, but let's get closer." Let's get closer.
Yeah.
Did they break out actual beer after that, or did we end up marching away?
I can't remember what happened after that.
I think we ended up marching away. Like it was like they gaggled, you know, rest.
Yeah.
And they danced, and then it was like, you know, attention, and then off we went.
But you know, those were good times,
Yeah.
and memories that you'll have forever.
How about the Red Beret
There was
Club?
always an unwritten rule that when you were running down our dance, it was all kind of rules for our dance. You couldn't be walking on the sidewalk. Oh, then you get towards skin up, you know.
Turn your shirt inside
Now,
out.
if you were running in formation, you could not cross the yellow line.
Yep.
If you did, oh man,
Free game.
you're free game. But I mean free game. We get elbow punch in the stomach or whatever. Oh man.
Hey,
I saw them big guys over out there, man. I didn't even,
Hey, dude, I'm gonna tell you. So Flag and some of them other guys enjoyed it. They would put their shoulder into a guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They would ride. They would edge that yellow line,
Or
and
we
if
see-
you get over, they were gonna
or
punish
we
you.
see
They called
another-
themselves punishers.
Another unit coming down, and we just talked shit about them as loud as we could in cadence, so they could hear it as they passed us all the time.
It's interesting that again the testosterone that was running through this group of people, that all we just wanted somebody to be an enemy of. We wanted somebody.
Man, I can
Well,
remember one time I was in
didn't like us.
formation and somebody got caught crossing the line, got hit, and the first sergeant turned the unit around, man. And we ran and caught the unit, man. We out there fighting in the street, man. And then get up and go
Yeah,
about your
we
business.
couldn't have a battalion football game without having a major fight within the battalion.
Hey, gosh, what's his name? He just told me that story. Bobby, the first sergeant that turned that unit around and went and hit that. He told me that story where he did it. That event that you were part of.
Yes.
Well, I think it was Alpha Battery.
Yeah, he had to go up and stand on the carpet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. My gosh, why am I not thinking of his name right now? My gosh, Sergeant Major Bobby. Gosh.
Howard.
Howard. Sergeant Major Bobby Howard. That was the guy. That was the guy. He did it. He told. So I sat in his house for 3 hours the other day, and we recorded one of these kind of things, and it's really
I haven't seen
the
it yet.
stories and the things like I'll give you an example. I know this guy tells me what he did and how it was such a big mistake in his life and career, and you were one of the guys in formation going, "What in the world are we doing?" And I can't believe I'm in a fist fight on our dens. So I've heard the story about how Delta used to have a bulldog, and the bulldog bit a major from division or something when they were running down the road. I've heard that story.
I've heard that one.
Have you? Oh my gosh! And how about have y'all ever heard the story about the time they were trying to shoot water balloons at Repple at the 3rd story window from Alpha?
Hell, I remember when they went over there on the hill, where you remember when battalion was like it was in the quad, and they had that hill on the backside.
Yeah.
I remember they had those big rubber band launchers, and they were taking that damn thing and trying to launch water balloons at freaking the Cherry Farm when they were out in formation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, man,
So
y'all,
that's
we
the
gonna
thing
get
the
this
platoon
fucking
sergeant
trouble.
hear about, okay?
Oh, so look, there's things that happen in the barracks on
Oh
weekends.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I remember I coming in to work one morning early. I said, well, soldiers, boy, they are really on top of things. They got their sleeping bags out here, airing them out, and I didn't have to tell them. Well, I didn't find out until years later. They were putting the chairs. There were soldiers in the sleeping bags hanging
dropped them out the
upside
window.
down
Yeah.
on the windows. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
They were, what, doing it with the cherry?
Shit, Mag, who was it? It was when I first got to Falk was daggone squad leader. And I zipped my freaking sleeping bag up. You were part of this. We were out by Holland, DZ, and we were laid into a position. I didn't know you weren't supposed to zip your sleeping bag up. I zipped that bad boy up. It got tied up, and I got elevated on the Vulcan. I was up in the air, all in a ball.
They hung me out. They did the same thing to me in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. Coon and Matthews tied me up, and they drug me out. They tied a rope to me and dropped me out of the second story of a World War II barracks. It was snowing. I'm on the ground. Drug me around. They made me like.
Traffic getting out of Nashville right now.
Well, you know,
That's going to slow them down. It'll probably be 6:30, 7
Combat
o'clock before they're
MPs
back.
also guards at the prison. Well, after Abu Ghraib,
For me, it's
they wanted
not bad getting
guards
to and from my house.
strictly.
How long did it take you to get back
That's
here?
in progress.
25, 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, he's not too much farther than that, is
I
he?
was with
No, he's twice as far as me.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's.
POA.
See, I live.
So how far-
I live north.
How far are we from Nashville right
Man,
now?
you
10
ain't changed
miles?
a bit.
Downtown Nashville?
That's Nashville. Out the window. I mean,
You
Oh,
ain't
is it?
They went through the jump command, like sound off equipment check. They beat the crap out of me. There's like 10 of them, and they lowered me down, and finally they dropped me on my head, and then told me I was a toe jumper, couldn't do whatever, and drug me into a ditch, and I had to actually hop back up the stairs to get up there. But one of my buddies, Matthews, finally come down and helped untie my feet, because they had tied that son of a brick up tight, and I'm just like all like this. And I remember going back upstairs with my squad leader, Sergeant Arroyo. He peeked his head out the window. As I'm coming up the stairs, he peeked his head out the window. He goes, "Marshall, you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Okay, good night." I'm like, "Good night."
I guess I could say I never got cherry
Really?
tortured. No.
It's
I've
the
seen
guy,
quite a bit of it.
the guys were doing it with love with me. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It was cool. Look, you got no choice. You got no choice. They're gonna, if you fight, they will literally beat your ass if
Yeah.
you really start fighting.
Just
so
go
you
with
can't.
it.
You just
Let
can't.
it happen.
Well, I didn't find out about a lot of that stuff until, and I had retired out of the Army. I found out that they were taking the pool table, putting it next to the window, open the window up, doing jump commands and throwing the soldiers out of the window. I was wondering why when I come in, soldiers, hey, come in, their wrists all wrapped up in a cast. And then I found out, what?
Hey, but today we was buffed. Floor was buffed. Everything was clean.
So
Everything was clean when you come in. You say, oh, these soldiers on top of things. Well, not knowing they wrecked the place the night before.
So you were a platoon sergeant at the time where all of these things that I guess had been going on in a group setting, the hazing and things, when it had open bays, that stuff, when we went to individual rooms, believe it or not, it caused these little things to happen more, I think, right? And it was just a time where on a Sunday afternoon, all it takes is one of the staff sergeants that lives in the barracks to start drinking at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. And next thing you know, the whole barracks is drunk. Right?
Oh,
I'm
it's
finding something out to do.
wide open.
Because one of the things that was an interesting thing as I grew through my career was the power of the senior leadership that lived in the barracks. Whoever the senior guy was that lived in the barracks set the culture for what was going on in there a lot of times.
You know, I think you're right, and I think it was also who were the NCOs in your platoon, and who's platoon sergeant, because some of the rowdiness didn't happen believe it or not, didn't happen in our platoon a lot. And you know, we had Steve here, we had all these other high-speed NCOs, and nobody wanted to be fucked up by any of them.
Oh yeah.
And it was, Yep, I mean, we got messed with a little bit every once in a while, but it wasn't as much as some of the other batteries. Yeah, because they were like, oh, Lord, yeah, we don't want to go to Bravo. We don't want to go over there. Or and Joe Stout was in Charlie battery. Nobody wanted to go mess with Joe. Yeah, I mean, it was good times though.
So what battery in the battalion would you say like left an indelible mark on you? Do you have a battery in the battalion that left?
Well, I was in Bravo, and then I went to Charlie, then back to Bravo. I enjoyed it.
Right.
So I started out in Bravo. The only battery I did not serve in was Alpha battery. I must say it was Bravo battery was always my favorite battery. When I was in Charlie battery, had Lewis Millington as my platoon sergeant.
Big meal.
And yeah, that dude, I don't know why. It was like anything I did was wrong. And I was just getting hammered daily, it seemed, with him. But came back over to Bravo, and then daggone, what's his name? He lives down in El Paso right now. Teaches for the ROTC down there. But anyway, and Gillian requested me to come over and be a staff sergeant, platoon sergeant in Delta Battery, and that was a really good experience. But I have to say, Bravo Battery by far was my favorite.
How about you, Archer?
Well, I was in Alpha Battery as a Stinger, then a mechanic, then back to a Stinger, then over to Hick Battalion as a RNU, and honestly, I liked them both. It depended on who was the NCO in charge, or the first sergeant, or the captain, or the major that you worked for. It's all who you worked for.
It's all about bosses, right?
You know, I mean, I was out of S4, and Sergeant First Class Barry really did not like me. And it wasn't they did like me, he didn't like the fact that the stuff I got to do that most soldiers didn't do by wearing civilian clothes every day, never having to do PT with them because I always had a 300, so I'd go run on my own, and I'd run more miles than they did and stuff. So, but I loved Alpha Battery as a Stinger, and also being able to go and do things with the Vulcans because as a mechanic, I went out the field with them, so I learned a lot there. Learned what I didn't like too.
I guess it was Bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was first sergeant. It was my first sergeant. And I met some unique people in there. My motor sergeant, he only PCS one time in his whole career. That was from HHB to Bravo Battery. Magwood.
Yep.
Magwood? Oh my gosh.
Magwood went from private to all the way through. I remember when I left, he was.
Yeah, well, see, basically, yeah, I was assigned to Alpha Battery the whole entire time, even though I was over the battalion.
What's up?
Everybody, this is Joe and Carla Benson. Sergeant Steve Rogers, Craig Evans, and Stephen Archer.
There's our buddy.
Yeah, right? I told you, man.
How you doing, mate?
Hey, I'm
So,
doing
you know,
all right.
we
Of
were
course, I
talking
had to
earlier,
do it and make sure you get
about
your service
that.
that you're supposed to be
Yeah.
getting. And
So
I'll get it up.
I never, after I came back from Alaska, got promoted to master sergeant there in the
I
battalion,
have too.
and
It's like, I mean, even
didn't have a
when
job
you're
at that point.
100%,
So they said, hey, we're gonna
more that you
send
can
you
get,
over to the
don't
3
realize.
shop
Yeah, if you have a
and let you
surgery,
run
also
3
too.
shop over there for a little bit. Well, Dagger was already there,
We'll talk about it some more.
and I come walking
I
in.
get a lot
I
of
look at him, he looks at
Yeah,
me,
well,
and
that's
he's
one
like,
of the things I was
I'm
what are you
more
doing here? I said,
Yeah,
I'm letting you go play golf, fish, whatever you do, but I don't need you here doing it.
yeah.
And I worked there for about a month and a half, 2 months, and then came down
I got mine right out of the milk.
to Fort Bliss at that time to take over my battery.
They didn't want to give me anything to start with.
When I came in and saw you, what battery you want, or what unit you want to go to? And
Right there at you.
yeah, that was
Come on in and sit down.
I tried
Come on in
to
and
make
sit
him
down
unemployed.
and be with us, or you know, go somewhere else if you don't mind.
Tell me what to do,
I
boss.
love you, man. I love you, man. Come
I
hang
don't want my
out.
wife to be all by herself.
Yeah.
I want to play Connect Forward.
What is it?
why are you asking all the questions?
I don't know. You can ask questions.
Yeah. So when you went in as a private,
Right.
did you ever think you were gonna make first sergeant? Was that ever a goal?
Yeah. I was going to be the sergeant major of the Army. What the heck are you talking about?
And you probably could have been, all right? I think the Army got it wrong there with some of the promotions systems there, especially in the semi-centralized. Because when I went to the E5 board or the E6 board, you know you're going to get promoted 90 days after.
Right.
Then they start with these standing lists and keeping people on the list for years. And I think it just destroyed a lot of good, hard-working NCOs. I mean, I'm never going to get promoted, so I'll go do something else. A lot of them left the Army. And
I'll be right back.
I really don't like that system there. If you send somebody to the board that says, hey, I want to promote this person, and you should promote them, not have them standing on a list for years.
It was confusing.
Well, the thing with some of that is they send someone to the board and they ain't got any damn points anywhere, and they end up with 600 points from the board. You know, when they're all done, how the hell are they gonna get promoted?
Sergeant
If
Major
they're not sending
Adams.
them to school and all these other things.
Sergeant Major Adams pulled me aside at one point, and he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing this." And what he found out when we looked at it, and again, this was right when correspondence courses were kind of starting, and
Oh,
if you didn't
yeah,
have
lots of
college
them.
credits,
We
you
talked
couldn't
about
do
you
it.
all the time, man.
It was just like, here I am, no college, right? I had like 12 credit hours of college, so there's 12 promotion points, and so when you start getting, but you're getting 3 and 6 and 9, and then you have to have a certain number of points to be able to even add it. And it just
Yeah.
looks like a mountain that's so high.
Mhm.
And I was watching people cheat on correspondence courses, like bald face just cheating, and I was like, there's a group of people over here that are telling me that cheating isn't the way to go, but I've got a whole subset of people over here that are sharing this Marine Corps BNOC and just straight up cheating.
Well, what I didn't like was, at that time, you could send off, $150, $200 and buy your education.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I always made a promise to myself. I said, I will never do that. And I saw other guys getting promoted. That I watched them get promoted to sergeant, and they would go and buy an education, and they would move up to staff sergeant. I'm like, what in the hell what's going on here? This is not right.
It was interesting to see like Burnley, who was 5 or 6 years behind me, ended up becoming my peer. I ended up becoming his peer. We got promoted on the same sergeant first class list together.
Mm-hmm.
He just skipped all of that stall time that a lot of us in the branch got, because all of a sudden they picked up a bunch of people at one time, and then next thing you know, everybody's like back on track again. But a lot of us had just been kind of
So I tell you what,
spinning our wheels for a while.
I'll tell you what was funny was
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Mark,
Yes.
Don.
Steve.
Morning, brother.
Morning. How you doing?
Doing
Everything
well.
good?
Yeah.
As a leader, you
About to go hit this gym.
it really hurts to see some of your soldiers that were just stellar soldiers, just go-getters, and you just see them suffer on a promotion standing that long.
It was interesting.
So you make you feel like, hey, I must not be doing something, because you're supposed to be preparing that soldier for the next grade, and just see them just linger for years. It was just heartbreaking.
I tell you what made me feel good in my career, and it was towards the end of it, is when Will and I met up in Korea together that last time. And we were standing out in front of our batteries, and we shook hands and said, "Yep, that was one of my mentors there." And Will was like, "Yep, that used to be my private." And he said, "Look at him now." I never will forget that.
It is. There's something about those early leaders that you have, and those leaders that are around during specific moments that are tough, right? That you build such crazy cohesion and such love and bonds that makes it I don't know. It just puts an aura of a Superman around your memories, right? Like we could have gone and done anything with that team that we had.
Well, I had a mentor, Wilbur Adams.
Right?
And I came up through the like, first time I met him was in Hawaii, long before I got to the 82nd. And man, I was scared as shit of him, man. I can remember one time he had a soldier, his room was jacked up. He made that soldier move out, his bunk, all of it, and put it in a dumpster. This soldier had to live out of a dumpster. I don't know how he got away with it, but I said, oh man, I make sure I don't do something like that. So I got about a lot of my stuff in my tube kit there from him, man. He put him in the dumpster, man. And not only that, well, I guess he took care of it because he made him put a camouflage net over the dumpster. Right?
Isn't that so wild, right?
In the middle of the quad in Hawaii.
Wow. So there was times when we made soldiers move out of their rooms and into some other place. Like you did it right one time. Did you ever actually make anybody move out of their room?
No,
personally.
Soldiers moving to the Thunderdome there.
Oh my God! Tell us, okay.
I mean, the only reason is just hey, let them know, hey, look here, we don't have to come back and go through this again, all right?
So tell me about your thoughts on behind the Thunderdome. Right, you remember you called it that, right? Y'all used to call it that.
No, we didn't ever name it that. I don't know who come up with that name.
Oh, we all called it.
I never heard about it until years
Look,
after.
so him and Sergeant Major Bradley were platoon sergeants together. Both of them were E7s. Both of them were drills right off the trail, and they were fellow platoon sergeants in Charlie Battery. You were 2nd Platoon Vulcan, and he was the Stinger Platoon Sergeant. Y'all shared an office, and if somebody from the Stinger Platoon screwed up or somebody from 2nd Platoon screwed up, they was going into the Thunderdome, and they was going to get double barrels. They was going to get Bradley, and they was going to get Stevens, and it was not going to be something. So when you had a soldier in there, you needed to counsel somebody. You know, you never laid your hands on anybody, I'm sure. No. But I'm going to tell you, the threat was real. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The threat was real down in the motor pool.
Oh, hell yeah.
Huh?
Top off, don't make me take you over into Area J in the tree line.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh boy.
Hey, so do you guys remember on DRF, and we had that weekend schedule, and you have to come in on Friday and Saturday, start the daggone generator, PMCS the equipment.
Yeah.
I remember damn, what is his name?
Sure wish he had cell phones then.
Yeah, right.
I can see his face clear as day. He was Sergeant Major. As a matter of fact, he was Sergeant Major there in 3-4 for a while. Lives in Tennessee. God damn, his son's name is Brock. Short guy, dark hair. Man, what is his name? And we always hung out and drank beer together. I must be getting old. I'm forgetting names. But anyway, man, we lived like right down the street from each other, so we would volunteer.
Oh, you're talking about Maddox. Kent
Maddox. Yeah, old Kent. So Kent and I just lived right down the street from each other.
Yeah, you did. Next to Thad Mumau.
Yeah. and he and I ride in together on weekends and do PMCS and then stop by Class 6. But yeah, hell yeah, man. We had good times. Good times.
Nah, the 82nd was fun. 3rd and 4th was fun.
Yeah.
I can remember this one time I released the battery so they could go watch that the boxer who was fighting for a world championship, who had been a paratrooper. What was his name? I think it was Anthony.
Not the big.
Embrick, something like that.
I think I remember those at that time.
You just interviewed one of them not long ago.
Yeah. But anyway,
boxing.
I didn't
And then the
get
Vegas
a chance to get up
boxing.
there because the place, the gym was packed. Everything was packed. You couldn't get in there. They had TV, world TV, national TV. Everybody was there. All the cameras. You couldn't get in the place.
Yeah.
So I went home real quick, turned the TV on, and I got in time. I mean, it was something like a thing out of a movie or something. You know, had all these girls coming out there holding that, 87 flags. Oh man, just waving them up. And he came in, he had on these white trunks with the big 82nd patch on them. Oh man, it was something. It was awesome. Awesome. And then got in there, everybody cheering, all the paratroopers. The bell rung, ding. He walks out. The guy hit him one time and knocked him out, man. Cold. And he couldn't wake him up, man. No way.
Oh, mercy.
What was his name? Ambrick or something like that. I bet he never came back to North Carolina after that, man.
Oh,
Heck no, I wouldn't
Did you
either.
call everybody back to the unit?
it's like knockout recall.
One punch knocked him out
No
cold.
way.
He knocked the other guy out.
No.
No?
The guy knocked him out, man.
Oh.
Knocked him out.
Yeah.
But we used to do so many fun things.
Chief
Then we had
Cosby
the,
sure
All-American
worked on that
League.
boxing team down
Push
there.
ball.
Pushball was crazy, man. Ooh.
Oh,
We had
hell no.
football teams. We had the marching competition.
Yeah, my nose looks like his because of push ball. Oh
this
man,
big
that was
giant
a
ball.
free for all.
And after about a couple of minutes, there's only 3 or 4 people on the ball. Everybody has a little fight here, a little fight going on there.
Yeah.
God,
You come out there with a bloody
Yeah, yeah.
nose.
Yeah,
Who hit you, man?
I
I
remember
think
we
it was
were-
my own buddy.
We were.
You can't
it was
go out there and play
All-American
push
week,
ball
and
with
we
Charlie.
were playing 782nd. It was one of the final games, and I saw the ball wide open, and I'm hauling ass as fast as I could. The next thing I remember is waking up in freaking the hospital,
Oh, wow.
and Leslie was there, and she was like, "Is he gonna be okay?" Is he gonna be? I remember waking up, man. I was just like, "What the hell happened?" And somebody had an old recorder or something, and was out there recording it, old VHS recorders or whatever.
Yeah.
And what had happened, man? I swear, these were 2 Mack truck of a men, big men. One hit high, one hit low, and I looked like a cartwheel through the air.
We put pads on and play games like football, but no, we'll go out and play like we called it combat butt ball or push ball with nothing, just out there with nothing but brown t-shirts and freaking jungle boots.
I don't know why we had flag football. We never used them. It was
That's so funny. That's so funny. I remember one time it snowed, and we were stuck in the barracks, and we got out there and played like football in the snow out there in the parade field one time. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Remember walking to and from the motor pool, the rickety steps? Remember those steps?
Yeah,
Going to the
there-
motor pool? Those were
There
awesome,
wasn't
man.
steps to start with.
I know. Did you help build those? Those are freaking. Those are nice. When I first got there, them steps were like you were gonna die.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
slowly they fixed them up.
Osborne and I can't remember the other guy's name. He used to be battalion repairs and utility way back then. Build them. The only biggest things I built was the cover over the mess hall.
Oh, really?
A bunch of regimental rooms.
Oh, cool.
All the oil building for all the excess oil and junk. I built that. Had that little teeny shop in the way back in motor pool by the wash rack.
Right, that's where I remember you from.
And division come in do an inspection. They're like, "What the hell?" Because they had a little shop that was about this size here with hardly nothing for tools. And here I got 50 sheets of different sizes of plywood, all kinds of stuff, saws, everything in there. Then an office upstairs.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
So Ernie Forbes, never will forget when he would be up there working on something on one of the systems, and we would take an MRE heater, tear that bad boy open, take all that powder, put it in a water bottle or a soda bottle, fill that thing up, pitch it up there while he was working. Kablam! He'd fall all over the place and come running down at us. Get out!
Some of the.
He was a funny guy, but he kept me laughing. I remember going to war, man. I said he'd tell this.
I know what you get
We
ready
were,
to
we
tell.
were driving together, right? And we had a chessboard. We had to sit in the console of the Humvee, and we were playing chess the whole time, man. Just helmet off, just riding down the road playing chess. I'm about to say, I'm gonna kick your ass all the way to Baghdad.
Oh, wow.
And next thing I know, man, we roll up. I jumps out, get out. What in the hell's going on out here? You got all these people standing here formation and nobody's moving. What's going on? I'm just raising them. They come to find out they're all POWs. Man. Oh shit! We both was tripping, man. God, that's the first time we've seen all the POWs out there.
Go back in his meat.
Oh, right. That was hilarious.
Hey, so tell me the story about old Ernie Forbes' Doritos bag. I always chuckle when I hear this.
No.
No. You probably do a better justice than me, all right?
All right, I'll tell it. Because Ernie, after that happened, he came over to see me over at the Vulcan. He was so spitting mad. So Ernie's wife had sent him a little care package, and the only thing inside of it besides the letter was one of those little like lunchable lunch snack bags of Doritos. And he had left it on his his little cot that he had. Well, he went out to go do something and comes back in there. And he wasn't my lieutenant. The lieutenant had went over there, got that bag, opened it up, and was eating his freaking Doritos. Now, keep in mind, all we had was MREs for 30-some days.
He was mad.
That dude, boy, I think if it wasn't for Steve being in there, he would probably shot him. He would probably kill him.
Lieutenant. We just got him before we deployed. I mean, he complained the whole time there because he got an apartment and he never even got a chance to sleep in his apartment. That's how new he was.
Wow.
But Trouble Force was pissed.
Yep, he
That's
came
the only time I
over.
really ever seen him mad.
He came over. He was so spitting mad, boy. I tell you what, I just told him, I said, "Hey man, just sit down." I said, let me fix you an MRE.
Here, have some crackers and some cheese with jalapeno.
Yeah. So,
Thanksgiving dinner?
oh yeah.
Oh, man.
So if you remember, you guys had Thanksgiving dinner, but I was on that detail to go up and see President Bush.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
But I was in the back of the line and I didn't get a chance to eat any. I'm so
Yep.
glad I didn't.
I came back. I kid you not, Will. I came back and the entire task force was in the shitters. If they could make it through the shitters.
They were, oh man, I never saw anything like it. They had to put chem lights out to direct you to the shitters. They
Yeah.
had soldiers carrying soldiers on litters and they was coming out both ends.
Oh,
It
What,
was-
a small
it
case of
was-
Stella Vanilla there?
It was bad.
Yeah, it was. So I flew up to I don't even know where it was. That was some tankers, and they told us. They said, "Hey, you guys are not to say that anything about the 82nd, because we were supposed to have been gone or something."
Yeah.
And you know me, we get off, and I was like, "That's President Bush right there," and they were like, hey, don't leave him alone. I'm like, oh no. Walk straight up to him. All the way, sir, how you doing? He said, and where are you guys from? I said, we are the 82nd Airborne Division. And he turned around and looked and he said, get my cameraman, and took a picture with us. I never got the photo, but we got back on that helicopter and thought we told y'all not to make any sound or anything. I said, you send me somewhere, I'm gonna make sure it's known. So from there, we flew back to Champion, Maine, and jumped in Jimmy J. Johnson. Had a Good Morning America, and he wanted all of the division and battalion soldiers of the year to sit there on the Good Morning America show with him. Well, you know how hard Copenhagen was to come by. So naturally, had my dip in, and wanted had my dip in. So freaking the ever who was taking the shot said, hey, can you guys take the tobacco out of your mouth? And General Johnson, God bless him, said, oh, stop. Everybody stop right there. Do you realize how hard it is to get tobacco products in this country? He said, who's got a can? Threw him a can. He put a big old lipper in. And then we did Good Morning America. And I was like, I like this guy.
That's my boss right there.
He was that type of combatant, man.
Hey, so it's interesting. there were certain commanders that were beloved, and there are certain commanders that were tolerated.
True.
Right.
True.
Tell me about some of the loved commander. Underhill was the commander we had that was
Well, one
loved.
of the big
right?
wigs was Hugh Shelton.
Oh my gosh! Right?
Oh, man, he was all. You could see him all up and down. You always saw him, and he stopped and talked to you. I don't care where it was.
I was his NCO of the year, and it was really cool to spend time
I
with
was
him.
proud
and
of you guys
certain
that I
things,
had
man.
Soldier of the Year, NCO
I
of the Year.
know, dude.
It was awesome, man.
It was
Jumpmaster of
amazing,
the Year.
man. It was really cool.
I was
too.
always walking around with my chest out, right?
Oh wow.
That's my team. That's my team.
So do you realize NCO of the year? You are the one that enabled me. Do you realize because you say like, is Marshall going to be here or not? Because you gave me almost 30 days where I did only what I needed to do. Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Instead of Marshall in the middle, I was going to say Marshall in my formation.
I know, right? It's so cool because what he did was he said you coordinated with our task force, or I don't even know if it was our task force, but there was another task force that was doing EIB training, and you gave me the bullets that you had acquired to go to the range and got the arms room open appropriate times, and you went out of the way to get your weapon carted out there for me a couple times so that I could train. And the only reason that I was any contention of winning was because of my CTT and my weapons qualification score. I shot 39 out of 40 on the range, and I didn't get any no-goes on CTT, 100%. Because for 30 days, I just went to that CTT site and did every task until I was tired of it. And the sergeants will be like, at the station, will be like, okay, Marshall, you got it, man, move on. And I'd be like, can I do it one more time? Would you I want to go through it every step because I don't want to mess up. And that helped, man. It did. That leeway to be my own trainer at that young age was very cool.
What you got right here?
Dude, well, it's
I was just trying to follow in his footsteps. I'm not gonna lie. 'Cause I was seeing what he was doing, and I was like, well, I want to try this too.
Dude,
He allowed me the same opportunity.
Huh?
I tell you, he allowed me the same opportunity. He said, "You're going to the board again." I tell you, I had study material, and I would take soldiers with me just to
Yeah. That's right there.
I mean, oh, this is great hair around here, man.
oh my gosh, right?
go everywhere. I've been running into them.
So we were OCing together,
Yeah.
and if you remember, I was sent to go to ANOC, and he was 108 Brigade Sergeant Major at that time, and I just remembered, I was like, damn, Steve's out here. I gotta call him and link up with him, and that's when he told me about the position in Alaska. And,
Oh, look at that, right? Look at that.
yeah.
Look at
My
that.
mentor!
Look at that, right?
Oh, man, it's good to see you.
As many times I got yelled at.
Look at these guys, right? Look at these guys.
Oh, you look good. How's yourself, man?
Great.
You look good.
You look good.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Hey, y'all come in. Let's get some seats, and let's just get some seats going up in here and continue talking. We're sharing, hanging out. I see another brother hanging out. There's some chairs. Get on the couch here.
Oh, no, good.
There you go. Yeah, jump on over here.
He's 3 hours. He said it was 3 hours out.
Oh, he's strong here.
Yeah, we're hanging out. I'm gonna take the wife for a ride.
Not yet. I'm trying to save it as long as I can, bro.
It's like every time on that one.
I'll be back. I'm gonna take it for a
Maybe
ride.
I'll make without no more.
You kept me straight.
There's chairs over
Grab your
here.
seats over there. Grab your seat.
There's
We're
chairs.
in here.
I don't know
We're in
where
here
to
till
look.
I'm gonna take the wife for a ride.
Okay.
You still look the same, man.
Really good.
Yeah. Well,
I noticed the walk when you went by.
I went by and I went. Oh, going around.
Yeah. Hey, so what happened was I was out there and went to ANOC, and Steve asked me. He said, "Hey, we need a platoon sergeant up in Alaska, but they need to be a jump master." And he said, "I think you fit the bill perfect." I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to go. And that's how I got to Alaska.
That's cool.
And didn't realize I'd be the one closing that platoon down
Right.
after we got back from our deployment. But
Look at
after
there.
that, went back
at
to
that.
Bragg. And
Look at these guys. Look at these guys.
there it is again. There's another one.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hey, gotta introduce you to my very first team chief and his wife, man. Ron Ray, his wife Tanny, and Steve Rogers.
Hi.
Yo, come on in, pull up a chair, man. You know the deal. We're trying to adapt and overcome. A bunch of guys went to dinner, or went to breakfast. And so I'm sending messages that we changed location. Now I gotta send messages to a couple of folks that were gonna meet us at the lake.
Okay, wow.
Make sure that they don't come to go to the lake.
Right.
Well, I guess they can go, you know, that we won't be there, you know what I mean?
They'll look around and be like, I guess
Where
we
is
got
everybody?
I guess it was a frago.
That's right. And we didn't get it, right? Figure the odds. Some things never change. That's it. Yeah, so, you know the deal. When'd you get in just now?
Yeah.
All right. Rock and roll. I'm running around all that. These guys started trouble already.
Don't
I,
let us talk
I
about
went in to check in. You know what she said? I had some noise complaints last night. Like, please don't be considerate of others. I'm like, well, we'll try.
It's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, we warned him. Hey, I mean, Brock is the guy that came and met her the first time. He said, look, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. We'll get kind of loud, you know. It's a bunch of 40 years worth of paratroopers. She said,
Remember check your number?
Huh?
Remember check your number?
I tried, man. I couldn't find my coin. Now, that sounds bad, but it's boxed up. And somewhere I wasn't gonna rip the house
I
apart
promise
this
you
morning.
can get
so-
whatever the hell comes out the bag.
Yeah, that's it. That'll work for me.
it.
It'll match up somewhere, somehow, I'm sure.